Australians used to balance a healthy scepticism for our politicians with a begrudging respect. But now, if you believe the polls, politicians are about as popular as, well, journalists. Malcolm Turnbull's not a bad bloke. It seems we can't wait to get rid of him. Just like we ditched Tony Abbott and Rudd and Gillard without giving any of them much of a chance to be great. Maybe aspiring PMs need to visit the master. Would you believe it's 25 years since Bob Hawke held the top job? Back then, we loved him in spite of, or maybe because of his imperfections, including that he left his wife Hazel for another woman. As you'll see today, Bob's more popular than ever and still wonderfully in love with Blanche.
So tell me when I'm going to do the slate thing.
You getting paid for this?
Yes, union rate.
3/5 of 5/8 of fuck all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, yeah.
And 47 cents in the dollar tax.
Bob and Blanche interview, take one.
Blanche, that was very good, very professional. And we should add, for the cynics, that you're not being paid for this interview.
I did it for free. We're doing it all for free.
Where better to start the story of Bob Hawke and Blanche Dalpouge than a sparkling day on Sydney Harbour.
So boys, a bit of history here.
On board the multi-million-dollar racing yacht Itchy Bang.
Well, you've got the great helmsman back again. That's right. We're actually not campaigning for the America's Cup right now, but we're not far off it. Is that right, Bob?
Anything you say, John, you're the boss. Out there, you're the boss.
No one alive at the time will forget the day Bob single-handedly won the America's Cup in 1983.
You just came in, crossed in front, and that marvellous tacking duel down the final leg. Oh.
Well, not quite single-handedly. Good friend and skipper John Bertrand played a part too.
Never to be forgotten, Johnny.
Yeah.
And, of course, it gave me the opportunity of saying the most remembered thing I've ever said in my life.
I tell you what, any boss who sacks anyone for not turning up today is a bum.
Many brilliant things over all the years, but nothing is remembered like what I said at the yacht club the next morning.
Did any boss have the temerity to sack a worker, I wonder?
They wouldn't have been game to after that, I think.
Steering a ship of state is no easy feat, as we've seen with a recent succession of Prime Ministers whose careers have foundered. In retrospect, Bob's was a golden age. Demonstrably the most popular Prime Minister in Australian history, we elected him 4 times as he healed the division of the Fraser years and pushed through landmark economic and industrial relations reforms.
No longer content to be the lucky country, Australia must become the clever country.
It was a kind of charismatic leadership Bob believes is now missing across the Western world.
We've got this, terrible situation. We just, for the first time since the Second World War, there's not one outstanding leader anywhere in the world, and at a time when we need it more than we have before.
OK, but Trump, how would you deal with him? Were you Prime Minister today?
So I think we should hold our hand out to Trump and say, you've been elected, we accept that fact, and we want to talk cooperatively with you. And I encourage all leaders of all countries around the world to do that, because this is the fact of life. And if he is isolated, that means, by definition, he's going to rely on his own attitudes, resources and ideas, which is not a very promising thing for the rest of the world.
At 87, Bob is philosophical about the pain of being deposed by Deputy Paul Keating in 1991, because it finally freed him to pursue the one simple thing that makes the world go round: love.
My feet are much nicer than his.
Love for a woman he first met more than 20 years earlier. Journalist, writer and biographer Blanche Dalpouge. You met him, I think, in Indonesia
Yes.
at an embassy party. Did he strike you as someone special then? 'Cause
Absolutely.
you were married to someone else, an entirely different life.
Yeah, I had no idea who he was. I thought his name was Robin. And, but we sat down together on one of those swinging chair things and talked for about 2 hours, and he was just such an interesting man. He was a man of very good character. I perceived that immediately.
And what did you think about this then, still, but then stunning young woman?
I thought, my God. So that was the beginning of an affliction. Now you just bang them.
I don't have...
Despite Bob's renowned womanising, it was his infatuation with Blanche many blamed for the breakdown of his marriage to first wife Hazel. Blanche, you were portrayed at the time as a scarlet woman who
Yes.
stole Bob, and in fact nothing could be further from the truth.
That's right. The fact that I was a writer with a career and an international career was simply airbrushed out of the picture,
Yeah.
and I was portrayed as Bob's much younger trophy wife. How shocking he's had an affair with this woman.
Well, she came to a relationship with you knowing you had had many other relationships.
Indeed.
Like, you counted how many?
Hundreds.
Hundreds.
Oh, I bet you put that down in his book of experience.
Of all Bob's affairs, it was his romance with Blanche that captured his heart and captivated the nation when they wed in 1995.
I like that.
you like that?
I like that.
A much younger man, in a much different time, I interviewed the couple and, in retrospect, clumsily perhaps, put the question about the controversial transition from Hazel to Blanche.
I will be accused of pussyfooting around it if I don't say that what most people want to know is, when did the sex begin? Before or after you left Hazel?
Well, you'll have to put up with being accused of pussyfooting.
Because you won't tell us.
Certainly not.
I must say now, with the weight of experience and the years upon me, I wouldn't ask when it began, but rather, how long can it last?
Well,
Forever.
Forever. It lasts.
That's what I wanted to hear.
I think.
Why not?
Just about a perfect day for him out there. Not.
And so to sport.
A nice shot. Lovely cover drive.
As I learned at the Sydney Cricket Ground this summer,
Oh, nice shot.
Bob loves cricket
I love to have a beer with Rob. I love to have a beer with Bob.
and cricket loves Bob.
I love you,
Just turning back on the job. We drink at the tavern where the atmosphere is great. I love to have a beer with Rob.
I couldn't believe it. The mob loved him. It was as if he just opened for Australia. Did that surprise you?
No, well, it's happened before quite a few times. So
All you have to do is scull a beer.
yeah. Without being sentimental or stupid about it, you know, I really love the Australian people. There's a genuine rapport between us, and the concept of an ex-PM sculling a beer seems to appeal to them.
Judging by the crowd's approval, few will resent the luxurious life our oldest living former Prime Minister now enjoys in his waterfront mansion on Sydney's exclusive Middle Harbour.
Way, you get that?
You've done that before.
You get that?
It's still a sporting life,
Thought we were there that time.
and he still wants to win.
Might hit a bit harder.
I didn't know it was
I don't know.
Even the fifth floor rooftop golf is fiercely contested.
What a shot. You haven't lost it.
This lifestyle of the rich and famous doesn't end there. From the rooftop, I make the journey by funicular rail down to the sparkling shore,
I think I've got one.
where I find Blanche and her son Louis catching dinner in the turquoise waters of Sydney Harbour.
Okay.
We got it, Jim.
Oh,
What do you mean there?
what a lovely brim.
I did a little fishing myself.
I want you to tell me one discrete piece of information that you have learned because you live with Bob and Blanche and the rest of us don't know.
Oh, about
their
their
love affair.
relationship.
Yeah. Come on, give me one thing. Just
Well, Bob likes to serenade her,
what?
and he sings Ja Ja Gabor, I love you more and more. Or Is it possible, I love you more and more. It's very sweet.
Zaza Gabor, c'est impossible, but I love you more and more. It arose because just a couple of weeks ago on the front page of the Australian, there was Zaza Gabor had died, and there was a lovely little picture.
It's on your fridge now.
Yeah, on our fridge now.
Yeah.
Blanche is a dead ringer. And so I sort of composed a little song which I sing to it. Number 12.
12 across, the best alternative on our menu. Right.
Now think about that.
When not composing love songs, Bob works hard keeping his mind fit with more testing pastimes.
Number 1. That's an anagram of on our menu. Number 1, which is the best.
Oh, God. He's done at least 2 cryptic crosswords and number puzzles every day since seeing Hazel succumb to Alzheimer's in 2013.
This is push-ups for the mind.
At least as important as physical exercise.
Hazel's death makes us think of one of the prospects of ageing, and that is, colloquially, losing our marbles. That's a fear that we all have, isn't it?
Well, it's something that will not happen to me because I work on it now, and I have an arrangement with Blanche. If it were to suddenly collapse and I would lose my marbles, I wanted to do something about it.
So we're talking about euthanasia here.
I think that's the word for it, Charles.
And you would agree that we should be the skipper of our own destiny in that sense?
I
decide?
support voluntary euthanasia for the very ill. But what I say to Bob is, I'm not going to go to jail for pushing you off the end of the boat, jetty into the water.
I think we can find some more subtle ways, darling. Okay, do me up. Is that what you like doing? Come on. Come on.
Australians are not always outwardly the most romantic of people, so not everyone will find this enduring love story as charming as I have. But I can report, without doubt, Bob and Blanche are still sincerely, hopelessly, and romantically in love.
I wonder if we'll do another interview in another 20 years' time.
Let's hope.
And I never know with Bob whether he likes this or whether he's just tolerating me.
No. I
was all right.
enjoy anything with that. As I've said so many times now, thank you, Paul, because if it hadn't been for that, I wouldn't have had this.
Love is more important than Prime Ministership.
Absolutely.
He's a lucky man.
Yes, well, all women marry beneath themselves, as we all know.
But in you, he found someone he loved even more than himself, didn't he?
Yes.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Absolutely.